Eli Carter never expected to become a prisoner on an alien warship. He had been a junior engineer on the Earth Alliance ship Daring Star, helping with repairs and scanning asteroids. That mission was supposed to be simple. But when the Daring Star entered the wrong sector claimed by the Valkyrie, Empire, it became a disaster. The Valkyrie warship appeared like a shadow from nowhere. Sharp black wings cut through space like knives. Before anyone could react, it disabled the Earth ship and boarded it within minutes. The crew fought back, but they were no match for Valkyrie warriors. They wore shimmering blue armor and moved like ghosts. Eli tried to hide, but they found him. He was dragged through glowing hallways, past his captured crewmates, and into a grand chamber filled with tall, armored guards. At the end of the chamber sat a throne made of living crystal, and sitting on that throne was Queen Zavera of the Valkyrie. She was tall, her skin a soft metallic gold, her eyes glowing purple like twin stars. Her dark silver hair flowed behind her like a cape. She looked young but carried the presence of a ruler who had crushed empires. Eli expected death instead. The queen stood and slowly walked down the steps of her throne, looking at him like a scientist studying a rare creature. "So," she said in perfect translated English, "this is the one who spoke back to my warriors." The human who refused to kneel. Eli tried to speak. "I didn't mean to disrespect you. Showed spirit," she interrupted. "Interesting. I have decided something." The guards stood still. The entire chamber went silent. Queen Zavera turned and raised her voice. "This human is now my property. He shall not be treated as a slave, but as my consort. As of today, he is to be my husband." Gasps echoed through the room. Even the guards looked stunned. Eli stared at her. "What?" "No, I didn't agree to this." Zavera didn't even blink. "You don't have a choice." Eli stepped back. "Can't just claim me like I'm some pet." "I can, and I have." "What?" The queen walked close to him, her eyes steady. "This is not about desire. It is about strategy. Marrying a human will send a message across the galaxy that the Valkyrie fear no alliance, that we can take even the children of Earth and bind them to our throne." Eli shook his head. "You're making a mistake. I'm not special. I'm not even a soldier." She smirked slightly. "That is why you are interesting." They gave Eli his own chamber inside the royal ship large, glowing and silent. He wasn't locked in chains, but guards waited outside his door. Every wall was alive with flowing light, and the bed looked like it had been built for a giant. He sat there trying to understand what just happened. One moment, he was repairing a scanner. The next, he was declared the husband of an alien queen. His communicator was taken. Way too. Contact Earth. Eli paced the room, thinking of escape, but escape to where? Even if he found a pod, they were deep in Valkyrie territory. He would die alone in space. A soft chime echoed, and the door opened. Queen Zavera stepped in, dressed in a long dark robe that shimmered like stars. No guards followed her. Eli stood up quickly. "What do you want now?" "To speak," she said. Calmly, she walked to the edge of the chamber and looked out the transparent wall into space. Eli stayed quiet. Then he asked, "Why me?" She didn't turn. "Because you didn't beg. You didn't cry. You didn't offer lies to save your life. I value strength of mind as well as body." He frowned. "You think this is strength? You kidnapped me." "I claimed you," she said. "There is a difference." "I'm not your toy," he said, voice harder now. "You can't just decide someone belongs to you." Zavera finally turned to face him. "Among the Valkyrie, a ruler can claim a partner for the sake of unity. This tradition is old ancient. Revived it today." "And what does your empire think?" he asked. "That their queen chose a human as her husband." "They are silent for now," she said. "Some will resist, others will accept, but all will watch." He looked at her closely. "You're not just doing this to make a point to Earth. Are you? There's something else?" Zavera gave a small nod. "There is trouble in my court. Factions rising. A ruler must show control, or they will lose everything. A human, or a symbol of that control." Eli let out a dry laugh. So, I'm just a trophy. You are alive, you are safe. And you are now part of history, Zavera said. You may hate it now. It may change. He turned away. You don't know me. Not yet, she replied. But I will. And with that, she left. Over the next few days, Eli was shown around the royal vessel. Not by choice, but by command. The ship was a floating palace built with advanced technology beyond anything humans had seen. Lights responded to thought. Walls shifted. Meals were prepared instantly by glowing machines. But he was still a prisoner. The Valtheri treated him with respect, but also with distant eyes, like he didn't belong. Some guards glared at him. One even whispered, "You disgrace her throne." Another simply said, "Do not get comfortable, human." Only one Valtheri, a young female named Talvin, spoke to him kindly. She was assigned as his translator and guide. "You do not know our people," Talvin said during a walk through the gardens, "but you were brave. That is why she chose you." "I didn't ask to be chosen," Eli muttered. "I know. But sometimes destiny chooses us." That night, Eli was called to the main throne room again. A large gathering of nobles stood in silent ranks. Queen Zavera stood in full armor at the top of the stairs, her glowing sword at her side. Eli was brought forward. Zavera raised her hand. "Tonight," she said, "we declare our union before all. Let no one question it again." One of the nobles stepped forward, General Vecker, tall and grim-faced. "My queen," he said, "this is a mistake. He is not one of us." Zavera's voice turned. Sharp. "Would you defy my rule, Vecker?" The hall fell deadly silent. The general bowed. "Never, my queen." Zavera nodded and turned to Eli. "Do you accept this position, human, as my consort and partner?" Eli looked around. All eyes on him. He felt the weight of 1,000 alien stares. "I don't want this," he said.
Oh.
"But if it means no war between our people, if it means I can survive and maybe change something, then I accept." Zavera stepped forward and placed a silver ring on his hand. It shimmered and locked into place with a soft click. The chamber erupted into a strange alien cheer. Later, back in his room, Eli sat alone, staring at the ring. He still didn't feel like a husband or a consort. He felt like a man trapped in someone else's game, but deep in his chest, a small ember burned. If they expected him to stay silent, obey, and vanish into alien history, they were wrong. He would survive. He would learn, and maybe he would do more than just survive. Maybe. One day, he'd have real power here, even in the heart of a queen's empire. Eli Carter was now officially the husband of Queen Zavera of the Valtheri Empire. He didn't feel like a husband. He felt like a symbol, a prisoner in fine clothing. The ring on his finger was not just jewelry. It was a Valtheri device, part tracker, part protector. It pulsed with a soft blue light, reminding him every second that he was bound to the queen, but life on the royal vessel had changed. Now, Valtheri nobles bowed slightly when they saw him. Servants addressed him as Consort Carter. His meals became grand feasts, and his room was upgraded to a high-tower chamber with a view of swirling purple stars. Still, he was not free. Guards followed him everywhere. He couldn't leave the ship, and most of all, he had no say in what came next. Queen Zavera met with him often, now not as a ruler to prisoner, but as if trying to know him. They sat together during meals, talked about human customs, and walked through strange gardens that grew under alien suns. "You still look uncomfortable," she said one day, handing him a cup filled with glowing liquid. Eli sniffed it. "It smells like hot metal. It's called Varel." "A drink of strength," Zavera said. "It will not harm you." He took a sip and coughed. "It tastes like lightning." She laughed, a deep, rich sound that surprised him. "You are honest?" "Good, too many in my court are not." Eli placed the cup down. "Why are you spending time with me? Is this part of the show?" Zavera looked at him with calm eyes. "You think I do this only to show power? That's what you said before?" He replied, "I'm your political message." She leaned back on the bench. "That is true, but also I am curious. You are not like the humans I've studied. I was just a ship engineer," he said, "not a hero, not a soldier." Zavera nodded. is why you interest me. You have no power, yet you stand tall. That is strength many warriors lack. The queen wasn't the only one watching Eli. Many nobles disliked him. He saw it in their faces, in their quiet stares. They whispered behind his back. Some wanted him gone, some wanted worse. One evening, Talvan, the young translator assigned, to Eli rushed into his room. "Consort Carta, you must stay inside tonight," she said. "Why?" "There are rumors. A challenge may be made." "Challenge?" Eli asked, sitting up. "Some think your presence is dishonor. One of the nobles may try to remove you by force." Eli felt his chest tighten. "Does Zyvera know?" "She suspects," Talvin said softly. "But she cannot protect you always. You must learn to protect yourself." The next day, Zyvera ordered a personal training session for Eli. He met Commander Vorak, chief of security, a massive Valkyrie warrior with silver skin and one glowing red eye. "You are soft," Vorak said, handing Eli a practice staff. "But you have good balance. We will begin slow." They trained in a private dome filled with gravity fields and moving targets. Eli was clumsy at first, falling over and tripping on his own feet, but he kept getting up. "You don't quit," Vorak said after the third session. "That's something. I've never had to fight before," Eli said, panting. "I built things. Fixed wires. I'm learning how to hit people. It's better to learn here than bleed later," Vorak replied. Over days, Eli improved. His arms grew stronger, his legs moved quicker. He still wasn't a soldier, but he was no longer helpless. One night, while walking alone back to his room, Eli sensed something wrong. The hallway lights flickered. The guards who usually followed him were gone. He turned a corner and stopped. A Valkyrie noble in dark armor stood in the corridor, blocking the path. "You do not belong here, human," the noble said. "I didn't." "Choose this," Eli replied. "But you accepted it," the noble growled. "You weakened our queen. You bring shame." Before Eli could respond, the noble lunged. Eli ducked, barely avoiding the blade that slashed through the air. He rolled and grabbed a nearby staff from the wall used for decoration. But heavy and sharp at one end, the noble attacked again. Eli blocked. His arms shook from the force. He stepped back, using the moves Vorak had taught him. His heart pounded. They fought in the hall, metal clashing against staff, boots echoing on the floor. Then suddenly Zyvera appeared. With one command, the noble froze. Her eyes glowed with rage. "You dare attack my consort," she said, voice. Like thunder, the noble dropped his weapon. "He is not Valkyrie. He will ruin you." Zyvera drew her sword, pressing it to the noble's throat. "You will never speak again." Later in the healing chamber, Zyvera sat beside Eli. "You are wounded," she said softly. "Just bruises," he replied. "Nothing serious. You could have died." "I didn't," he said, "because of what Vorak taught me." Zyvera looked at him, eyes calm. "You are changing." "I have too," Eli said. "I'm going to survive here." Zyvera stood. "You do not only survive, Eli. You make this court tremble. You were never weak." The next few weeks changed everything. Eli became a part of council meetings, listening to political debates and military discussions. At first, he stayed quiet. But soon, he began to speak, offering ideas from Earth's strategies and technologies. One day, the Empire faced a problem. A group of pirate ships was stealing fuel from outposts. The Valkyrie planned a massive military operation, but Eli suggested a simpler idea. "Lure them in with fake fuel shipments," he said. "Make them think they're attacking a soft target. But inside the containers put tracking beacons." The court laughed at first, but Zyvera ordered it done. It worked. The pirates were captured within 2 days. After that, the whispers about the human husband began to change. Some nobles still hated him, but others began to respect him. One evening, during a quiet dinner, Zyvera said something unexpected. "You have proven useful." "Thanks," Eli said, smirking. "Nice to know I'm finally more than a symbol." "You were more than that." She said, "You saved Valkyrie lives." Eli looked at her. "Why are you really doing all this? Marrying me? Training me?" Protecting me? She looked into his eyes. Because I do not trust easily. But you have not lied, you have not bowed. And now I find peace in your presence. Eli blinked. Peace. For me? She nodded. Even a queen needs peace. They sat in silence for a while. Then Zavera spoke again. You may not believe this, but I never wanted a husband. Valthree rulers are expected to remain alone, strong, and untouchable. But something changed when I saw you standing in chains. Refusing to kneel, Eli's voice softened. You saw something in me? Yes, she said. Something I did not expect. That night, Eli lay in his bed, looking at the stars outside. He was still a human among aliens, still trapped in a world not his own, but something inside. Him had shifted. He was no longer just surviving. He was growing, and the queen. The woman who had claimed him like a prize was no longer a stranger. Maybe, just maybe, his forced union had become something more, something real. Eli Carter's life was no longer simple. He had gone from a captured engineer to the official husband of Queen Zevera, the ruler of the powerful Valthree Empire. But now, things were changing. Not only was he learning how to fight, speak the alien language, and walk among nobles. He was slowly becoming a part of their world, and that scared many people. One morning, Eli walked into the council chamber. Zavera was not there yet, but the nobles were already arguing. He is human. He does not belong here, shouted General Tracon, an old war hero with a scar running across his silver face. He has saved lives, said Talvin, who now served as one of Zavera's advisors. You saw what happened with the pirates. He is still a risk, another noble added. He distracts the queen. Eli stepped forward, his voice steady. I'm not trying to take power, I just want to help. You may not like me, but I'm not your enemy. The room went quiet. Then Zavera entered. The nobles bowed low. She walked past them and stood beside Eli. He speaks truth, Zavera said. Any who defy him, defy me. Her voice echoed in the chamber. But behind the bowed heads, eyes were watching. Oh. And one pair of them held hatred. Later that day, Zavera invited Eli to the royal garden. It was a massive place, filled with glowing plants, soft lights, and floating fountains. The gravity here was lighter each. Step felt like walking on clouds. Zavera stood under a crystal tree, waiting. Why did you speak in the council? She asked. I didn't want them to think I'm weak, Eli said, or silent. She studied him. You are not weak, Eli, but you are now in the center of power. That is dangerous. For me, for both of us. They sat on a stone bench. Birds with shining feathers flew above them. Zavera looked thoughtful. There are some who want to take the throne. My enemies were quiet before, but now they grow louder. 'Cause of me? He asked. She nodded slowly. Some believe a human consort makes me look soft. Others think you control me. Eli laughed lightly. They really think I control you. They fear what they don't understand, she said. That night, Eli had trouble sleeping. His room was quiet, but something didn't feel right. Suddenly, the door to his chamber opened. It wasn't the queen, it was Talvin, her eyes wide with fear. Come quickly, she whispered. You are in danger. Eli jumped up. What's going on? There's been an attack on the queen. She's alive, but wounded. You need to leave your room now. It's not safe. Eli's heart raced. Take me to her. They moved through secret tunnels under the royal tower. Talvin led him to a small healing room, guarded by 2 trusted warriors. Zavera lay on a floating bed, blood on her side. A healer worked over her with soft blue light. She opened her eyes as Eli entered. You're safe, she whispered. You're the one bleeding, he said, moving closer. She tried to sit up. It was someone close to me. It's one of my own commanders. I trusted him. Who? Zavera closed her eyes. General Tracon. Eli's hands clenched. He tried to kill you. He said the Empire must be ruled by strength. And that bonding with a human made me weak. Eli stood, his voice low. Then we stop him. The next morning the news was kept quiet, but tension filled the air. Zavera recovered quickly, refusing to rest. She appeared before the court again, strong as ever, but colder. "We have traitors among us," she said, "and I will find them." Eli knew he had to act too. He met with Commander Vorak, the warrior who had trained him. "I want to help," Eli said. "Khan hates me. Didius. He won't stop unless I do something." Vorak looked at him. "You are brave, but this fight is not like your pirate plan. It's not a trick. It's blood and steel." "I understand. Then I will teach you more," Vorak said. "Not how to fight, but how to win." For the next week, Eli trained harder than ever. He learned the weak points in Valkyrie armor, how to move in low gravity, and how to turn his size into an advantage. He was still smaller than most warriors, but quicker. He also began talking with other guards and servants, gathering information quietly. It was risky, but he learned valuable things. Traken was building support, secret meetings, hidden weapons. He was preparing for a coup, and worst of all, he had support from other commanders. Eli brought this news to Zavira. "I feared this," she said. "But now we have proof. We need to strike first," Eli said. Before he makes his move, Zavira looked at him with something new in her eyes. Not just respect, but something deeper. "Are you ready for this?" she asked. "You could die." "So could you," Eli replied. She nodded once. "Then we stand together." The plan was simple. Zavira would call a special council meeting, pretending to offer peace. Meanwhile, loyal guards would secure the ship's engine room and weapons control. Eli would track Trakon's movements during the meeting. Using the ring signal, everything depended on timing. The day came, the council chamber filled with nobles, warriors, and commanders. Traken stood near the back, silent, cold. Zavira addressed them all. "There has been unrest," she said. "But today, we speak openly. No more secrets." Trakon stepped forward. "Then let us speak freely, my queen. You have grown soft. You bring humans into our court. You bleed for them." Zavira's eyes narrowed. "I bleed for peace." "There is no peace in weakness," he said, pulling out a hidden blade. But before he could move, Beely appeared behind him. "Drop it," Eli said, pointing a Valkyrie energy weapon at him. Traken froze. "Your plan failed," Eli said. "Your guards are disarmed. Your ships are locked down." Zavira stood. "This is the end, Trakon." Trakon turned and snarled. "You let a human do your work?" Zavira stepped forward. "No, I trusted him, and he did not fail me." Traken was taken away by guards. The court remained silent, then slowly, one noble stepped forward and knelt. "Long live the queen," he said. One by one, others followed. And when they finished, they turned to Eli and bowed. Later that evening, in the quiet garden, Zavira stood beside Eli. "You saved me again," she said. "You saved me first," he replied. She looked at him with warmth. "You have changed much, Eli. So have you." They stood in silence for a while. Then Zavira took his hand. "When I chose you, it was for strategy, for power, but now." He looked at her. "Now," she smiled. "Now, I do not know what it is, but I know it is real." Eli smiled back. "Then let's figure it out together." The stars above the garden shimmered. The Empire was safe for now, but new challenges would come. And this time, Queen and Consort would face them side by side. The days after General Trakon's arrest were quiet but too quiet. Queen Zavira ruled with a firm hand, and her court now treated Eli with respect. Some nobles even sought his advice. But beneath the surface, something dark was building. One evening, as Eli stood on the balcony of his tower, watching the stars, Commander Vorak joined him. "The traitors are not finished," Vorak said. "Draken was only one head of a many-headed beast." "You think they'll attack again?" Eli asked. Vorak nodded. "I think." "No." And Vorak was right. The very next day, a hidden message was intercepted. It came from one of the outer colonies. General Malvek, one of Trakon's old allies, had declared open rebellion. He had stolen warships, taken control of 2 fuel worlds, and sent a message. "Zavira has fallen under the control of a human. She has betrayed Valkyrie pride." General Malvek claimed the throne for the glory of our people. The message played across every screen in the royal court. Zavira said nothing at first. She stared at the screen, then turned to Eli. "They will." "Come here," To finish what Trachon started. Eli asked, "What do we do?" Zavera stood tall. "We fight. We remind them who rules this empire." That night, the War Council met in the strategy chamber. A huge, glowing map of the Valkyrie star. Systems floated in the air. Red marks showed the rebel fleets moving fast. "We are outnumbered," said one commander, "but not outsmarted," said Eli. He stepped forward and pointed to a narrow path through a nebula cloud. "These ships," he said, "are heavy war cruisers. Slow, we can't beat them in open space. But if we lure them into this cloud where their sensors won't work, we can strike from the shadows." The nobles looked at him. "Can you make this plan work?" Zavera asked. Eli nodded. "I can." Within hours, the plan was set. Ships were prepared, weapons loaded. Soldiers trained. Eli, once a human prisoner, now stood among the Queen's high generals. He wore Valkyrie armor lighter than most, built for his smaller frame but marked with royal colors. Zavera walked beside him as they prepared to leave. "You are not required to fight," she said quietly. "You've done enough." Eli looked at her. "I won't stay behind while you're out there risking everything." "I'm your partner, remember?" She smiled. "Yes, you are." They boarded the flagship Valkor's Flame and jumped into hyperspace. Battle for the Empire had begun. The rebel fleet was larger than expected. 20 ships, 3 capital destroyers. Thousands of warriors ready for war. Zavera's fleet had only 12 ships, but they had something else, a plan. Eli watched the fleet move from the bridge of the flagship, move into the nebula. He ordered the pilot, "Make them follow us." The ships entered the swirling cloud of gas and lightning. Visibility dropped. Signals were weak. Exactly what they needed. As the rebel fleet chased them into the cloud, Zavera's forces split apart and vanished. Malvek, proud and impatient, thought they were running. He ordered full pursuit. That was his mistake. Eli's trap was ready. As soon as Malvek's ships were deep inside the nebula, Zavera's fleet turned and attacked from all sides. Small, fast fighters hit their engines. Hidden mines disabled destroyers. Valkyrie soldiers boarded enemy ships and fought with fury. Eli sat beside the pilot, giving instructions, guiding ships into better positions. His Earth-style tactics, unpredictable, fast and flexible, confused the rebel fleet. "There. Splitting," one guard shouted. "The rebels are breaking." "Push forward," Zavera commanded. "Show no mercy." But just as the rebels began to lose, new signal appeared. A second rebel group had entered the system from behind. They were heading straight toward the royal ship. "Shields up," shouted Eli. Too late. A heavy blast rocked the ship. Alarms screamed, lights flickered. Zavera was thrown across the bridge. Eli caught her. "You all right?" he asked, holding her arm. She nodded, standing up quickly. "They planned this," the ship's commander shouted. "We've lost lower decks. Boarding teams incoming." Zavera drew her sword. "Then we fight." Here the ship became a battlefield. Rebel warriors burst through the walls. Blades clashed. Energy blasts flew through the halls. Eli fought beside Zavera, used his staff and shield, striking low and fast. He remembered every lesson Vorak had taught him. At one point, a rebel charged at Zavera from behind. Eli jumped between them. Taking the strike on his armor, he fell, bleeding but alive. Zavera turned and cut down the attacker with one clean motion. She kneeled beside Eli. "You're hurt." "I've had worse," he lied, wincing. She placed her hand on his chest. "Don't you dare die on me, human," he smiled, not planning to. With help from loyal soldiers, they cleared the ship's halls. The second rebel force was crushed outside. The nebula battle raged, but with Malvek's ships confused and scattered, Zavera's fleet began to win. One by one, the rebel ships fell. Malvek tried to flee. Zavera's personal ship chased him down. Eli stood beside her on the final call. "This is Queen Zavera," she said on the channel. "Surrender, or die." Malvek appeared on screen. His face was bitter. "You lost yourself the day you let that human touch your throne." "I found myself," Zavera replied coldly. Her ship fired the final shot. Malvek's ship exploded in the nebula clouds. Hours later, the skies were clear. The traitors were gone. The battle was won, and the Valtheri Empire was still under Zavira's rule. Eli was taken to the healing chambers. His wounds were deep, but not fatal. As he rested, Zavira sat beside him. "You stood beside me," she said quietly. "Even when it meant your death. I told you," he whispered. "I'm your partner. That's what partners do." She placed her hand on his. "You're more than that, Eli." He blinked. "What do you mean?" She leaned closer. "Came here as a prisoner. I took you as a symbol. But now, cannot imagine ruling without you." Eli smiled. "So, am I still your property?" She laughed softly. "No. Now, you're something far more dangerous." "What's that? My heart?" Later that night, a celebration was held aboard the royal ship. The stars above sparkled like fireworks. Music filled the halls. Even the coldest nobles lifted their glasses in respect. Eli walked beside Zavira, dressed in royal armor now cleaned of battle stains. Every Valtheri who passed him bowed not because of fear, but because of respect. He had earned his place, not as a symbol, not as a tool, but as a man who fought, bled, and stood for something greater. Queen Zavira turned to him. "Will you stay now, Eli? Truly stay?" He looked at her and around the great hall. "I'm already home." The Valtheri Empire was quiet. After the great battle, no rebel dared to raise their head again. The traitors were gone. Queen Zavira's power was stronger than ever, and beside hers stood Eli. He had gone from prisoner to partner, from a symbol of humiliation to a symbol of hope. But peace brought new questions. "Now what happens to me?" Eli asked one morning as he sat with Zavira in the royal garden. The red leaves of alien trees shimmered in the sun. Zavira leaned back. "You remain here, as my chosen?" Eli smiled. "Still as your husband." Zavira looked into his eyes. "I thought. As property, not as duty. As someone I have chosen fully." Eli laughed. "You're saying you love me, Queen?" She rolled her eyes. "Do humans always need words?" Eli reached for her hand. "Sometimes we do." Zavira didn't speak. She simply placed her hand in his hand, held it tightly. That same day, the High Council of Elders gathered. The Empire's laws required a full review after civil war. The Queen had to answer questions. Even she wasn't above it. Eli watched from the side of the chamber as Zavira stood before the Elder Seven ancient Valtheri, wise but suspicious. One of them spoke. "Your Majesty, you risked the throne to save a human. You married him. You went to war for him. Why?" Zavira stood tall. "Because he stood for me. When my people doubted, he remained. When my enemies attacked, he bled for Valthor. Dong, he is more loyal than some born of our own blood." Another elder asked, "But he is not Valtheri. Can he lead if something happens to you?" The room went silent. Zavira looked to Eli, then back at the elders. "Let us find out." That evening, Eli was called to the throne chamber. The great hall was empty, except for Zavira and a few guards. A small crown rested on a stone table beside her. She walked toward him, holding it in both hands. "I want you to wear this, not as king, but as consort of the Queen, a leader by my side." Eli blinked. "Are you sure? Your people? They follow me," she said softly. "And I choose you. Let them see it." Eli hesitated and stepped forward. Zavira placed the crown gently on his head. It was lighter than he expected, but the moment felt heavy. He was no longer just a guest of the Empire. Now he belonged to it. In the weeks that followed, Eli took on his new role seriously. He learned Valtheri law, studied their trade routes, listened to people's complaints. He visited outer colonies and helped rebuild the planets hurt by rebellion. He wasn't a warrior anymore now. He was a bridge between humans and Valtheri. Many alien races began to visit the palace. For the first time in decades, the Empire opened small paths to Earth and other human colonies. And surprisingly, some humans came too. One young woman named Captain Mira, a trader from Mars, walked up to Eli during a diplomatic banquet. "You really married an alien queen, huh?" she whispered with a smile. Eli laughed. "It's not as easy as it sounds." Myra smirked. "You're famous on Earth, you know. Everyone's calling you the man who tamed the queen." Zavera overheard. "Tamed, really?" Eli smiled. "I prefer the man who survived the queen." Zavera raised an eyebrow. "You're still surviving." But not everything was perfect. One day, a strange message reached the palace. A massive ship had appeared in deep space, unknown origin. Unknown origin. It sent no signals, didn't respond to contact. It just sat there watching Zavera and Zavera. And Zavera's strange message reached the palace. A massive ship had appeared in deep space, and a massive ship had appeared in deep space, in desert. Immented in desert. It sent no signals. It sent no signals at one. It didn't respond it does and had. It said, and it went. But, rent out on way I. Eli stood in the command chamber, staring at the screen. "Do we send a fleet?" asked Commander Vorak. Zavera shook her head. "Not yet." Eli stepped closer to the screen. "Something's off." The ship moved straight toward one of the Empire's mining moons. They sent a warning, no answer. Then it fired. The moon shook. Thousands of workers barely escaped. Zavera's eyes narrowed. "This is no accident," Eli said. "They're testing us." War plans began again, but this time there was no face, no enemy. Just a silent threat in the stars. Zavera summoned a private meeting with her top advisors and Eli. "These attackers are not rebels. They are not from this galaxy. What do they want?" Eli asked. Zavera looked grim. "We may never know. But if we don't stop them now, they will burn everything." The Queen made a hard decision. She would lead the fleet again. And Eli. He chose to go with her. "You don't need to prove anything," she said. Eli replied, "I'm not proving. I'm protecting what I care about." The battle in space was unlike anything they'd seen before. The unknown ship moved faster than expected. Its weapons were strange beams that bent light, missiles that turned invisible mid-flight. Zavera's forces fought bravely. But their enemy had no face, no fear. In the middle of the fight, Eli had an idea. "Try Earth signals," he told the comms officer. "Maybe they're not from here, but they might understand something from my side of space." It was a wild idea, but nothing else worked. They sent Earth language, binary, music at first. Nothing then. The enemy ship stopped and sent a signal back. The message came in code. Simple, just 5 words. "We see you." We wait, and then the ship vanished. Not destroyed, not captured. It simply jumped into another part of the universe, leaving a strange silence behind. Zavera stood still. Eli looked at her. "That's not the last we'll see of them," she nodded. "No, but when they return, we'll be ready." The next day, the Empire celebrated again. Not for victory, but for survival. The Queen and her human consorts stood on the balcony of the palace, looking down at the cheering people. "Strange how everything started," Eli said. "I was just a soldier, then your prisoner, then your husband." Zavera smiled. "And now I'm proud." She looked into his eyes. "Do you regret it? Being taken?" Eli shook his head. "It wasn't really being taken, was it? It was being found." She leaned in and kissed him, not for the crowd, not for power, but for love. Later, that night, under the alien stars, Eli stood alone in the garden. He looked up. The stars didn't feel so far anymore. He was part of something greater. He had helped stop a civil war, build a bridge between 2 worlds, and face a threat from beyond the stars. And through it all, had found someone who believed in him. Someone who once claimed him like a prize, but now stood beside him as an equal. Zavera walked out into the garden, thinking again human. Eli smiled, just wondering what's next. She stood beside him. Whatever it is, We face it together. We nodded. Together.